What is up, guys? My name is Lex. Welcome back to the vlog. After 9 days playing poker in Los Angeles, California, we are back in Vegas. 510 at the Bellagio, one of my favorite poker rooms in the country. First 4 minutes of our session, we look down at pocket jacks. I make it $30. Everybody folds. In order for you guys to get a full picture of how this poker session is going, I'm going to update you guys how long it has been into my session when I play each hand. So 10 minutes into my session, I 3-bet ace-10 to $120 from a single open. The flop comes out ace-king-9, 2 clubs. He checks it over to me. I feel like I'm going to be way ahead or way behind on this board, so I bet small, $80, and that does the trick. He lets his cards go. We take down the pot. 46 minutes into my poker session now, and I look down at pocket tens. There's a hijack raise to $40 over a limp. I just make the call and the cutoff. I'm okay with just calling with this hand in position. We end up going 3 ways to a queen 6-7 2 diamond flop. When the initial raiser puts out a bet of $110, I feel like my hand is a little too strong just to fold when there's only one overcard, so I make the call and the other player folds. Turn king of diamonds brings another overcard to our pair and also brings in the front door flush. If my opponent bets, I will be folding my pocket tens here. However, he decides to check. So I guess I could be turning my tens into a bluff, trying to get him to fold ace queen or queen jack. But this time, I decided to just check this one back. Going to the river, which is the 10 of clubs, we make a set. Hijack puts out a bet of $140, obviously great for us. We are losing to some slow played flushes. We're losing to ace jack and jack 9 for a straight, but other than that, I don't have too much to worry about here. My guess is that he has a hand like ace king or maybe king jack that he c-bet on the flop, turned top pair, but the flush got there, so he decided to check, and now he's going for value on the river, so I'm going to raise it up. I decide to bump it up here to $420. After 45 minutes or so playing with this opponent, I have gotten the feeling that he is here to mix it up. He doesn't seem like a professional player here in Vegas, so if he puts in another re-raise here, I can put him on a flush or a straight and pretty comfortably fold my hand. However, he thinks for a little bit of time and decides to flick in the chips. He makes the call. We show pocket tens for a set, and it is good to take down our first big pot of the night. Now we are 1 hour, 6 minutes in our session and look down at ace king. Same player from last hand makes it 30 in the hijack. I 3-bet to $100. He makes the call. Jack 5-5 rainbow. He checks over to me. I decide to go with a 1/3 pot size bet of $70. He makes the call. Turn is a queen. I think this is a great card for me to continue to barrel. However, this player does not like to fold. He has been playing some pots, playing probably 40% of hands, so I don't think he's the best player to try to bluff off his hand, so I decide to check back and try to realize my equity. The river is an offsuit deuce. A total brick shouldn't change anything at all, and now my opponent decides to lead out for a big bet compared to the size of the pot. He makes it $300. Now, obviously, I just have ace high here, but his line doesn't make too much sense. I don't feel like there's that many hands that he wants to be going this sizing with on the river. I'm actually considering hero calling here with ace high, and I'll let you guys know what was going through my head. So this guy is super aggressive, so I think he'd 4-bet pre-flop with aces and kings, so we can rule out him having an overpair. I don't think he'd be going this sizing with a jack. I don't think he'd bet $300 on the river with a hand like ace jack or king jack. I'm not even sure if he would bet a jack on this river, so we can rule out him having a jack. If he had a queen like ace queen or king queen, would he really be betting $300 on the river? I feel like he would bet a lot smaller, maybe $150, maybe $120. The way the action has gone in this hand, it doesn't seem like I have too strong of a hand, so I feel like he'd be betting smaller with a top pair here. So basically he's repping a very narrow range of hands like pocket jacks, pocket queens, and a 5. When my opponent is repping such a narrow range of value hands, it makes me want to hero call a lot more. However, he could potentially be turning a smaller pocket pair into a bluff. I've seen this a lot of the time when there's a big pot and a recreational player wants to win it, so they just blast off on the river with like 4th or 5th pair, thinking they're bluffing, but they actually have the best hand. So if I call here and he shows me pocket 7s, hit is going to suck. I feel like there's a lot more strong hands I can have here that I can call down with, and I think I can just let my ace high go. So after thinking for a while, I decide to make the fold. That was a tough one. Looking back, I think I should have just flicked in the call, and if he showed me a full house or a pair, then he just deserves it. And this next hand, we're 1 hour, 51 minutes into our session. I make it $30 with pocket deuces, end up getting one caller, heads up to king 8-8. I decide to c-bet on this board, and my opponent makes a call. My opponent had been playing fairly tight throughout the session, so when he calls pre-flop and then calls on this flop, I feel like he's going to have ace high or a better pocket pair than mine, so I decide to turn my deuces into a bluff on the turn and continue for a big bet of $120, trying to represent a strong range of aces, ace king, and king queen, all hands that he basically can't have, because he would most likely 3-bet that pre-flop. Not sure if I'm bluffing or value betting, but it doesn't seem to matter. My opponent pretty quickly lets go of his hand. Right, lads, we are now 2 hours and 14 minutes into our session, and look down at 6-7 of clubs. There's a limp. I make it $40 in the hijack position. There's a cutoff call before a crotchety middle-aged man on the button decides to 3-bet us to $160. Folds back over to me, and now I have a decision. Given the fact that this wanker only has $1,500 in a stack, I decide to let my 7 high go. Unfortunately, in this next hand, I wasn't able to record because my phone shut off. It folds all the way to the small blind, who is the same player who called me when I hit a set of 10s on the river, and the same player who bet $300, and I almost called him with ace high, so there's some history there. He makes it $30 in the small blind. I have queen deuce of diamonds. I want to get in there with him, so I make the call. Heads up to queen 5 queen. We make trips. He bets $30. I call. Turn is a deuce, giving us a full house. He continues now for $120. I could be putting in a raise, but I feel like I want to keep all of his bluffs in there, so I decide to just flat call with my full house, going to the river, which is the jack of clubs. Now he decides to check, so I think for a little bit of time decide to bet big. $400. He goes into the tank for a while, over 1 minute of thinking, and decides to put in the call. 2 hours and 46 minutes into the session, I have king jack on the button. I make it $30. The small blind decides to 3-bet me to $120. We're $2,000 deep, so I make the call. Flop is jack high. We make top pair, king kicker. My opponent decides to c-bet $80. What I've seen so far from this guy is that he likes to raise pre-flop or 3-bet pre-flop. He'll c-bet the flop and then usually give up if he doesn't have anything. He doesn't seem like the kind of player that's just blasting off with bluffs. So when the turn is an 8 and he continues to bet now for $300, I actually think my jack is no good. If I was playing a strict GTO style of play, this would just be a call down here with top pair. However, I like to play a mix between GTO and exploitative, and exploitative style means that my decisions will vary depending on my opponent, and like I said before, I haven't seen this guy blast off, especially on this turn card, which should help my hands a lot more than it should help his. So after thinking for a while, I decide to hero fold my top pair. The small blind was a friendly guy and later told me he turned the nuts with 9-10 suited. 3 hours and 36 minutes in our session, we're on the button with pocket aces. There's an under the gun raise to $30, under the gun plus 1 3-bets to $120 with about $1,400 left in his stack. I decide to do something I wouldn't normally do. I get a little sneaky here and decide to just flat call $120, hoping that potentially under the gun will put in a back 4-bet, or I can under-rep my hand and maybe stack my opponent if he hits top pair. Most players at the Bellagio 510 play very face-up ABC poker, so in order to play different and unexploitable, sometimes I do things a little different, and this time I decide to flat call. Let's see if it pays off. We're heads up now to the flop of queen 6-7 rainbow. Under the gun plus 1 bets $150. I make the call. Turn 10 of hearts, and my opponent continues to bet for $250. This is honestly not the best run out for a 3-bet pot. When people 3-bet in early position at Bellagio, usually they have pocket 10s plus, ace king, and ace queen. We're obviously basically drawing dead to queens and 10s. If he has ace king, he basically only has 4 outs. With all that being said, I don't think a raise is good here. I want to allow him to continue to bluff with his ace king hands, and I also don't want to scare him off if he has ace queen, king queen, or pocket kings. My plan here is to call the turn. If the river is anything but a king, jack, or queen, if he bets, I'm going to go all in. Over $1,000 in the middle, going to the river, which is the 6 of spades, a total brick, a great card for us. My opponent now counts out his stack. He has about $1,100 left. He thinks for a while and decides to bet $400. We could be losing to pocket queens or pocket 10s, but I'm going to stick with the plan here. No king, no jack, no queen on the river, which means we are all in.
All in.
All in. Alright, I'm still wasting this.
Pocket aces hold up in a massive $3,000 pot versus pocket kings, and all the chips get pushed in our direction. Our stack has now grown to over $4,000, 3 hours, 46 minutes into our session. We're on the button with 9-10 of spades. Cutoff makes it 30. I 3-bet to 90. He makes the call. I end up checking it all the way down to the river, which is a terrible board for us. He bets, and I fold. Well, about 4 hours and 26 minutes into our session, and we look down at the snowman pocket 8s. There's a $20 straddle. I bump it up to 60 bones, and only the under-the-gun player makes the call. The flop is pretty fabulous for us. Ace, 8, deuce, flop on a set. My opponent checks. I put out a bet of 30 bones, and he makes the fold. 4 hours, 50 minutes in our session, we get pocket jacks again, under the gun, make it $30, and just like the first hand we played, everybody folds, no action for us with the jiggities. 5 hours and 3 minutes into my session, the action has slowed down significantly at the table, so I end up racking up my chips, heading to the cage, and cashing out for the night. Alright guys, that is it for this session. 5-10 at the Bellagio. We started off running pretty well, ended up rivering a set of 10s, winning a decent pot there, flopping trips, turning a full house with queen deuce, and getting paid off. And then the biggest pot of the night, aces versus kings. I got a little sneaky, slow played pre-flop, but obviously in that situation, it doesn't really matter how I play it, I'm going to win a big pot. It's pretty big cooler, aces versus kings, but I am going to be in Vegas for 2 weeks potentially, and then I think I may be driving to Austin, Texas to the Lodge to go to the Andrew Nemi, Doug Polk, Brad Owen week-long meetup game. I may be doing that depending on how things go here in Vegas. I might be staying 2 weeks here and then driving to Austin, but if I really enjoy staying here and I'm running good, I might just stay in Vegas, and we'll see what happens. But I've been a little off my schedule. I was in LA for 9 days. I was sick before that, and I wasn't working out as much in LA. I was sleeping longer, and to be honest, like, the poker lifestyle is tough. You just kind of continually go back with your schedule. So like, you start going to bed at 2, waking up at 10, then you start going to bed at 3 and waking up at 11, then start going to bed at 4, waking up at noon or 1, and then now I'm on a schedule where like I'm going to bed at 4 and I'm not eating breakfast till like 1 or 2 p.m. So like, I don't really like that schedule, especially when it gets dark at 5 p.m. So I'm trying to shift it around a little bit, trying to start waking up at a little bit more of a reasonable hour, trying to cut my sessions off around 12 or 12:30 every single night. It's difficult. That's something that not many poker players talk about, is the schedule. Like, that you want to play the best games possible, and those best games are usually in the evening. But you also want to have a regular life. Like, you don't want to be probably playing from midnight to 7 a.m. every day and then sleeping during the day when everybody's awake. So I'm trying to find the happy medium between playing good games, then also having a good balance with life and being outside when the sun's up and not just being up when it's dark all the time. So I'll let you guys know how it goes, but hopefully this week we can get that schedule onto a more normal schedule. We will see. But hope you guys like this video. Hope you guys like my Vegas videos. We're out here, beautiful Las Vegas. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel and also like the video. Helps the algorithm push the channel. More people will watch the video. But that is it for this one. Until next time, I'll see you.